Welcome back to We Care a Lot. I'm half the podcast, Mel.
I'm the other half, Sam. Wow, my voice.
We've now been sick for like fucking 3 weeks, so that's great.
Hey.
Hi.
My voice is giving like, to be fair, sometimes it'll be like that Miley voice that everyone's wanting. Every once in a while it'll hit that twang. Yeah. I'm like, hi. Anyways.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I like my voice when I'm sick, but I don't want it to stay
be
that way.
sick.
Yeah.
I also have a headache and my sinuses are clogged, so
there's that part.
I'll take the health.
Anyway, that's so loud. Okay.
Testing.
Anyway, today we're going to be talking about, we did a podcast episode. I forgot what
Exploring cheating.
Yeah. And it, with that topic, we started to think about like, okay, what about the aftermath? Like, what are we doing? What did we do? What worked, what didn't? So I think that's like what we're going to explore today, is more so the aftermath of infidelity or cheating, and how to get back into like the dating scene, because things feel broken for a while. But you have to pick yourself up, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about, and hopefully share some good knowledge here.
Some funny, maybe, at least.
Yeah. So anyway, might be some personal stories in here. Them already, but we might reiterate them. And if you don't, hi, welcome. We talk a lot about cheating on here.
Yeah, a lot of relationship pain. Love that for us. But first off, before we even can talk about like dating, we have to talk about the aftermath personally and how you basically have to move through that, I think, alone. Obviously with friends, like, no, not literally, but like, you can't just jump back into dating someone after someone cheats on you. I just don't think that's real.
No.
Like, genuinely.
I think you need like at least a small period to yourself to regain to
reassess, undo the gaslighting.
Right.
At
least recognize the gaslighting.
Yeah.
And be like, wait a minute.
Like,
that wasn't right.
That was lying, for sure. I took an entire year intentionally to be single. I was dating for sure in general during that time, but not intentionally to like find someone.
Yeah.
But I was like on apps. I was like playing around, but I was actually like alone, not talking to a single soul for, I want to say like 3-4 months.
Yeah.
5 maybe. Like, I was like, I am literally so hurt right now. I genuinely cannot give my energy to anyone but myself. And that's okay. It was really a hard time, like any other hard time, but it was so worth it at the end of the day. Like, I feel as though I went through a lot of healing and soul searching in that time to understand that I didn't deserve what happened to me. And I feel like we talk about in this podcast, like, you never are gonna say like to your friends like, I deserved this, which like maybe you do sometimes, like if your confidence is actually like really just that low from the relationship or just in general. But I'm never the type to be like, yeah, I deserved this, and like I'm just a piece of shit and I don't deserve love or anything like that. But
well, you mean not that, but you did bring yourself to a point of saying things like, I don't know why like I choose bad people.
Yeah, like,
which is, that's a different aspect to it too, of like not trusting yourself and your judgment.
Trusting yourself, because like, how did I trust this whole other person?
Right.
Like, how can I trust me to trust other people? And that's like a really tricky part that gets triggered when you get cheated on. And it's so liberating to just be like, I mean, I just saw the best in them, and now going forward, I know I don't need to just like look for the potential in people anymore. I can see that now. And also like, I don't know if this is also like bad or like helping me get through it, but just like, if I pick another bad person, I pick another bad person. Like,
it's not really on you.
Yeah.
It's like, at that point you have to recognize that it's like not personal. Like, it's not your unless you really are like not like fucking
like genuinely just
signs.
Yeah, red flags, and you're like, whatever.
But you can't really help someone who's literally like lying to themselves and making you believe who they like, that they're a good person, I guess.
Yeah. And it's just like, I think every time you get better at seeing people's red flags or just like knowing what to avoid, and I guess that's kind of the scary part, involving other people in your healing process.
Totally. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on personal healing, like before even dating?
Well, I think like after I've been cheated a couple times, I feel like the first time that it happened to me, I definitely went the route of like distraction. You know?
Like didn't address it at all, really.
No, and I think it's because like that situation was different though. Like I feel like that person was like, I came into that, not relationship, but like that situationship by that person cheating on their partner. So like it was very convoluted and very different for me. So like it was hard to recognize.
It wasn't so cut and dry.
No.
Like this person's with me, we're together, they cheated. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that for me was actually like when I left that, I felt like extremely empowered, but like not in like a I can be by myself way, but more so like
fuck him.
I'm a fucking catch. Like fuck you. I'm gonna show you, but like I can find anybody that I want.
It was a vindictive way.
It was a vindictive way.
Not a
And then I got into the relationship that I got cheated on, which is just kind of like funny.
Not funny.
Karma's a little funny like that. Wow. Or just life. Yeah, and then like that relationship, that was the point where I did like have to like self-reflect, because I was like, okay, this has happened to me literally back to back.
Yeah.
And it did feel like very personal. Not that I did something wrong, but more so in the way of like, same thing, like I don't know how to choose good people. Or like, why am I always trying to fix somebody or trying to like have somebody care about me who doesn't care about me, you know?
Yeah.
Like, why am I trying so hard for someone to love me when I'm already good, like great as I am?
It's like, why did I let it go for so long? Like being in a bad relationship, because most of the time, I can't speak for every single case, but like most of the time I think it's not a good relationship to begin with, but you're still fighting so fucking hard for it to work, and then they go and cheat, and then it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Why didn't I just say, hey, you're not living up to my standards of a relationship? Like, that's the afterthought. Like, why did I put up with so much? Why did you to just cheat?
Why did it have to take cheating for me to leave?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then that entire thing was just like me coming to a sense of like having to make peace with myself about the decisions that I made in that relationship, and the decisions that, again, like what I stayed for and all that. And I had to make peace with myself and say, like, you know, like nothing, like you have responsibility for some of the things, but some of the things that happen to you are not your fault. And like, there's no other way to not live through them. Like it just had to happen for you, and that's okay. And like, I had to make peace with my life in that way. And then, yeah, I took like, I think about, I would say like 5-6 months to myself. I will say I was going through like a really personal journey at the time anyway. Like it got expedited because of like something that I went through. But like for the first I got cheated on, and then I found out that it was not just, if you've listened to the cheating story anyway, but I'm gonna quickly just say like
quick cap.
I thought it was emotional cheating, and then on New Year's Day, like at 3 a.m, I found out that I was like physically cheated on too. Sexually cheated on. And so from the new year up until like April time, I was really focused on myself. I think you have to spiral a little bit, in my opinion.
In what
That's
way?
how it went. Like,
what kind of spiraling? Like just self-hate type of spiral, like going out, getting fucked up.
Yeah. That's what happened for me anyway. And like, I think I was trying to find like my spark in myself again outside of that relationship, because I feel like that, not to like get too deep into it, but like I felt like that person was a big part of my social life and a big part of like me feeling more comfortable around others, like because he was so extroverted. Like it was it was like a safety net in a sense. So like I was trying to rediscover myself and who I was without him. In our, like, the friends that we did have, like, they kind of fucked up, but like they all chose me, thankfully. But like I was trying to reestablish myself as an individual in that friend.
And for you at that specific time in your life, senior year of college, it just so happened to be also like a time to go out, be socially. Yeah. Because I think if you're like maybe older, you don't have to do that. I mean, like,
no, I mean, maybe, but
I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, what did I do? I feel like I just stayed in. I went to the beach a lot. I did go out for sure, but I don't think I did it in a like specific way. Different. I don't know. Maybe I did.
I can't remember.
I literally can't remember. I don't know what the fuck. I mean, 2 years ago now? Yeah, almost 2 years ago. But yeah, I think just like that period of time is like a lot of soul searching in whatever way that means. Yeah.
For a lot, I was gonna say for a lot of the time, it's like the reason that going out and drinking and like being in like a fun vibration feels so good is because it's like you're trying to expedite, like almost like a revolt of like, I'm free now.
Yeah, it is.
And like you're trying,
I'm gonna post about it.
Yeah, it's like you're kind of in a revengeful kind of place, but like you're trying to also make peace with yourself, and you want to actually have a good time now that you're like, you've been feeling like shit and like gaslit, so you're like, you just want to
be free
and like dance it away or whatever the fuck, you know? So
yeah,
that may be where it starts. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just like personal to everyone, like whatever you end up doing to find that confidence again and trust in yourself. And the next part of like dating, I feel like the shitty thing is that you're never gonna fully know that you're ready until you start talking to people, because that's when you get triggered. Like that's when you're like, oh right, I forgot what it's like to put myself in a vulnerable position to get hurt, whether they are doing something to hurt you or you're just scared again, or like the feelings are just triggered, like they didn't text me or whatever. It's like that's when you're like, oh right,
it's interesting,
did I not work hard enough? Why? Tell me.
I just feel like the second part of like my time alone, when that was introduced to me, I actually didn't care.
Okay, there is like a split, right? Of like, there was people I didn't care about, but when you do care about someone, that's when I'm like, fuck me.
Yeah.
Because like after my first relationship, my second boyfriend, I didn't give a fuck for months. Like, go out, do whatever you want, be whoever you want, go drink, I don't care where you are, don't text me at night. Like, I literally don't care, because I was in that state of mind. Like, that was where I was like at.
Yeah.
But then the second it was like, no, this is serious. I was like, nah.
There was like a layer there, like, oh shit.
Oh, wait a minute, baby. Like, this is
That's
serious.
Fair.
Yeah.
Because I just like remember like having hookups and just being like, okay.
Like that's the thing. I think you just didn't.
I didn't care. Yeah, but I think it's also because I was in that like journey again of like reclaiming my self-esteem in like, because there was like bad shit with like, anyway, I don't want to get into it, but anyway, I was reclaiming like my sexual self, and like also just reclaiming like the power that I had I guess over people, where I was like,
yeah, I could be the asshole. Yeah, like, I could be the asshole.
I could not care.
Yeah,
and that's okay.
No, genuinely, and it sucks to be the other person on that side of a journey or whatever. Yeah.
But I was very real. I did not.
But you also had to do it. Like you did.
Do them on them.
Yeah.
But I was very like honest, straightforward about things.
I don't want anything.
No, like when I would go on a date, I'd be like, I'm not really looking for anything. But like,
I just can't even imagine doing that anymore. Like,
I can't either. It's
are we too
really
old, or is it that like that's just us as people?
Maybe.
I have no idea.
We are very like.
Is anyone not looking for a relationship in their late 20s? I'm curious. And don't be lying to yourself. I don't want none of that.
I don't want
none of that. Crazy.
Yeah. But then like the minute that you start to care. I fortunately had like some really great person at the time that like in the movement of things where they knew where I was at. And it was fine. Like we were peaceful about it. They were a friend to me. They actually helped me a lot, and like I am appreciative of that. And
but you weren't the one, babe.
But
right?
Yeah, you know what I mean.
But they knew that.
Yeah, and then I think at one point, like I just like, well, this is too like friendly. Like I don't even want any of this, like the other parts of it. So like
that's when situationships get.
Yeah, and but it was cool. It was so fine
at the time. for what it was. Yeah.
But like we remained friends, and like after that I was just like, that's when I fully like went into like the self journey, and I was like really on my self-help book, self-help podcast vibe, and I feel like that really like pushed me forward into this edge of like no return. And I think that's when I started to seek dating in a way that was like intentional. Right.
Yeah, I think there is that little like fine line of not caring and then caring again, and I don't think you like have to go to therapy if you get cheated on, especially if it's like your second or third go around it.
Or maybe do, because it sounds like that's really retriggering.
Or maybe that's like really a pattern that's going on in your life, and you should look into that. But I just think there's a lot of questions to sit with yourself. And it's not like, why'd they do this? What did I do wrong? Not those kinds of questions. Just like, what kind of partner do I want to be with? What do I deserve? What are things that I will not put up with next time?
Yeah.
And how can I keep myself accountable? How can I set boundaries? And I just feel like, for one, before getting into dating intentionally, I guess, anyway, like, I think everyone's like, when are you gonna start dating again after you get fucking cheated on and shit? And it's like, like, I don't want to. And then it'll be like you start dating and people are excited and you're just kind of like, oh, I'm actually just like just literally doing it to do it.
It's like dipping your toes.
Yeah. And like, I would like to get dinner every once in a while, so I'm just getting dinner with someone or whatever. So I think like telling your friends before you intentionally start dating what your intentions are, essentially. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Are you trying to find your person? What are you not going to put up with this time? How can I steer you in the right direction? Not like literally tell you what to do, but if you told me, I'm not going to deal with a guy who doesn't text me the night before, and he doesn't text you the night before, I'm going to say, hey, remember you said? And if you say, it's fine because of X, Y, and Z. Okay, like, whatever.
Just a reminder to you, though. That's what you said.
Exactly. So just someone to just come back at you again and be like, remember, though? Remember?
Yeah, because I think when you, even as a person, like, getting into the dates and stuff, you can get really caught up on the excitement of, like, liking somebody again. And it's really good to have people around you who not, like, are setting your boundaries for you, but, like, are reminding you of the things that you had set for yourself. And not in a pushy way, just, like,
didn't we talk about that?
Girl, we talked about that, you know?
Or just, like, it doesn't even have to be, I don't know. I think just as the person who's dating, right, and got cheated on, it could be, like, just realizing that no one is saying, like, there's a red flag, or, like, saying, like, that part will be, like, okay, maybe this is someone I do pursue. And it's not because I didn't do the work to trust myself, because that's still part of this process, I think. Like, yes, you can say before you start dating, like, I do trust myself. I know what I'm looking for. I know what I want. And you can still fuck up. You could still make mistakes. You could still date someone for a year and then be like, not like boyfriend, but just like date someone for a year and fuck around and be like, that was also someone like, that wasn't great.
I get here? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's okay. You didn't fucking, I mean, like, maybe you did marry him and have children and then, but like, you're fine. Like, whoever you're dating, I think we're bound to make mistakes, so it doesn't always have to come back to like, but I was cheated on.
Yeah.
And that's always something to like think about. Like, it doesn't have to be your personality trait now. Like, oh, well, in my, like, every date you go on, it's like, yeah, well, I was cheated on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's not start a date like that.
Have you ever cheated on anyone? Like, first
yes.
date? Yeah, no.
So getting into dating then, I guess, like, that's a good point. Like, do you ask, have you ever cheated on someone? Like, when is the right time? And do you want to know, I guess, as a person, personally, person to person, it might vary.
I don't know how you wouldn't want to know, my opinion.
Right.
Just as, like, I need to know overall what your dating history is like.
Yeah.
Because it says a lot about you, unfortunately.
It's hurtful. It hurts if they say that they had cheated or whatever. But then there's so many circumstances, like, I was 18 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay. Like, I get the whole, like, love story of it all. Like, oh, but they're a person that's cheated, and I always said I would never date with anyone who's ever cheated or whatever. So, like, I get it. Like, that fucking sucks. But at the end of the day, if they're a good person now and today, and they show you that.
I think I just want to see, like, self-awareness and growth. Like, if you can see what you did wrong and how that would never happen again, tell me why it wouldn't. Not like, I would never cheat again. It's like, but why? Like, why wouldn't you, actually?
Yeah.
I think everyone is so capable of doing it, but the reasons why you don't do it, how you get yourself to talk down to yourself about like not going through with it is so important. Knowing like that psychology of a person is so like
it's like key. Having the emotional intelligence, literally. Like, if a guy was to just not care or be indifferent or just make excuses, that's one thing. Because I've had that, like a guy tell me like, oh yeah, I've cheated, and he was like, oh, but well, she did it first, blah, blah, blah.
Right?
And I was like,
that's the red flag,
yeah, right there. And it's like, okay.
Now, like if I ever hear like when I think about like having kids or even like having like a teenager be like telling me about their love story or whatever about being or the person that they're with like cheated on somebody, like if the minute that person says, but that like my partner at the time or my girlfriend or whatever cheated on me first, so I did it as revenge, it's like,
who are you?
Get out.
You're literally a child.
Get like, the fuck out.
What?
But anyway, with that said, how can you really break down how you speak to someone in dating after the infidelity?
I think you just have to remember, like, it's not everything. It's not your whole story. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you want to just be like, yeah, well, here are all the bad things that happened to me in life in general, but also like, yeah, I've been cheated on. Yeah. And it's like,
why do we have to lead with that?
Yeah, we don't have to lead with that. It's literally just a little blimp. And also, like, I mean, hate to be on the red flag side of it all, but I guess if you were to say, like, I've been cheated on and fuck him, like, you know, like, if you start doing that route, it's like red flag. Like, whoa. You clearly haven't healed from the cheating.
Yeah, you're feeling really intense about the emotion still.
Yeah. So there's also that to be wary of, or just aware of, because if it happens, it happens, and then you realize I should not be dating right now, or I'm not ready, or whatever.
So how do we do that in an effective way where you don't sound crazy, you don't sound like you're still hurting? Like, you could obviously, like, we talk about it a lot. It clearly did like leave a stain in our like heart or whatever.
It's a part of who we are, I guess.
Yeah, so. But like, how can you communicate that in dating? When's the right time? How do you approach it? Like,
I think, like, in general, it all depends on how a first date goes. Like, sometimes you do end up asking those questions of like, we talked about all the other stuff, so what was your last relationship like?
And then they bring it up.
Yeah, and then it comes out like, oh, well, it ended because they cheated on me. And I feel like if you just say it, like, you can have a little personality. You can be like, they cheated. Like, it doesn't have to be like, they cheated on me and I have moved forward from it. Like, it doesn't have to be this whole script or anything. But just as long as you don't seem like really, really attached, I guess, to that part of that relationship.
Yeah.
And they always say like, oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. Which, like, is, you know, technically, I guess, the right thing to say. And it's just like, oh, it's okay. Like, yeah, it happens. Like, I've moved forward from it or whatever. Like, I guess that's, like, really the only thing you can say. And also, if they ask, like, obviously, they start asking for details and you get a little passionate. I mean, what did you expect? In my opinion, if you're going to start asking details, right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, yeah. I feel like the first time...
I mean, most of the time I laugh, though. It's, like, passionate because I'm laughing that it's so ridiculous. And then you look kind of like... See, that's also the thing. They tell you not to say they, as in women of TikTok, the people of TikTok. They literally are like, don't tell anyone that you're dating what, like, your past is if they've done you dirty, because then they'll think they can do you dirty. And I'm like, I just don't fuck.
I don't fuck with that.
I don't fuck with that either. Because, like, if you're going to take that and fuck with me, I'm going to recognize that. I'm not going to just let it. But also, I get that because people are fucking narcissists and manipulative and psychopaths.
Yeah.
So they can.
Okay, so then the effective way, though, I think, is, like, not getting too personal about it.
Just being like, we'll talk about it at a different date.
Yeah, we could talk about that another time. Like, I just really want to focus on this right now.
Yeah.
But okay, like, the minute it starts to get a little serious and these conversations do come up, I don't know how people don't want to talk about their past or, like, hear about the person's past.
Oh, I'm in it.
I just, like, I think it's so...
Like, it brings to light
a lot of things. You can be completely different people at that point now, but, like, it still says a lot about you, and, like, it just gives you, it's like, it's just history. I think you should know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like being open about that conversation or about those conversations of how someone cheated or
and
if you
what
got
you
cheated
need
on.
moving forward in a relationship because of cheating.
Because, okay, even if the person wasn't the cheater, like maybe that person has also been cheated on, and just by the conversation that you have with them about their experience could either be really like bonding, or it's like, oh, you're clearly like the same thing we're saying. It's like clearly you're not in the space
haven't moved forward
to move forward yet. And that's like so important.
Also, I guess another way of them not looking or appearing healed, I guess, is like aside from being like super passionate, like fuck them and blah, 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 could also just being really passive. Like really just like, it was whatever. Like it was fine. It was nothing.
It's like if it's either or, it's just they're not healed yet, babe. I think like the first times I like started to discuss like being cheated on, I was like really upset and like definitely on.
You said maybe I wasn't ready.
But I think like when I started talking to Logan about it, I definitely like was more. I was on a kick of like, again, from my self-help books and stuff. I like started to really analyze like his behavior, and this is maybe just like a coping mechanism that I have of like. When somebody does me wrong, I like start to analyze their psychology and like their background and their childhood and stuff.
Well, you rationalize it.
I rationalize it, and that's for sure a coping mechanism. But I started to do that where like when I spoke about him, it was still a little bit like fuck him, but I was like I still understand where he was coming from because there was just so much in his life that really like led him to the point of like that's how he deals with his problems. And that's not for me to judge because I can't change that for him, but also like I don't have to subject myself to that anymore.
I just have to deal with whatever the consequences of
it's
his
for me
actions
and
for me.
And like I have the choice to react in whichever kind of way I want, and I choose to not be scared to find the right person because that's just like
it's there for me, so why would I be scared?
So I'm not gonna let his poor decisions
affect my whole life.
Yeah,
that's fair. I think like also not just like even bringing up cheating is like the next thing of like, which I think more so we'll talk about in the like in a relationship, but the aspect of communicating what your needs are because of that.
Right.
Like we all have things that have happened in our life that affect how we move in a relationship, whether it's parents, family issues, or just whatever other relational issues you've had. They come into play in relationships, and on both ends, I think it's fair to say like, yeah, I have trust issues. Like, I mean, you don't have to be like, like say it exactly like that, but like, yeah, I just genuinely think I struggle with trust and knowing if the person I'm with is a good person or whatever the fuck. I don't know. I'm just making shit up right now. And maybe don't say that. But just like, I struggle with trust, and for me, specific examples of a time when I think my partner could show up for me is X, Y, and Z. And for me, it's like when they go on a vacation without me, texting me that they made it home safely, or like to their Airbnb safely, destination safely, like communicating with me daily on that trip or whatever, updating me. And that also is a good gauge to see how that person reacts. Like, are they like, oh, like that's too much? Or like, then okay, whether it is too much in their eyes, that's fine. It's just what you're asking for. And if they're not willing to give it to you, then they're not the person for you. You're just going to sign up for a life of fucking disappointment.
And it's just going to immediately cause like conflict. They're like, oh, this person's already X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean?
Already there too much.
Yeah. And you don't want to get into that. Like for that person to like think that and then still move forward, you're going to build resentment. For the other person, you're going to build expectations. And then that's just like fucking convoluted right there. But
yeah.
Like even with that though, like you're saying, I think when I hear that from you, I'm like, as that other person, I wish that they were just like, okay, even if they think that's like, okay, I personally,
like that'll be difficult for me.
I don't feel like that's necessary, but I'm willing to try that for this person because clearly like I want them to have trust in me, or I want to build their trust. And even that, I'm just like, that's amazing. And also like, you could completely change your mind later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm like, I trust them. I don't need that
need that anymore. But it's because you're currently asking for that should be given to you, you know?
100%. And that is the difference. I've seen it on one end where the person was like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
And the other end of them being like, oh, totally understand. Like, I would expect the same thing in return. Or, like, they're on, like, regardless, you're going to find out whether they're on the same page as you, or they're willing to get on the same page as you, or they think you're absolutely batshit crazy, which is, like, okay. Like, now I can make a decision. Right. I think that's, like, the thing with cheating is, like, you feel like you don't have control.
Yeah.
When it's, like, the whole time you had control. And even if you got cheated on and didn't leave the first time, second time, whatever the case is, you will always have control of what you want to do. And I know it feels like you don't because you're like, oh, but they're a good person. Like, the excuses that you make. But, like, reminding yourself that you did leave and that you are moving forward.
Yeah.
It's like,
you don't have to cling on to the
things that happen. It's so empowering. Like, I don't have to live in this doubt of myself forever.
Yeah.
For what?
Also, like, it's so shitty that someone else's poor decision can really taint your experience, like, of yourself as a human and trusting your own instincts.
Yeah.
Because it's just, like, it really was never about you. Mm-hmm. You know? It was clearly their own doing and their decision to fuck something up.
And then you're just, like, I think, like, the hardest thing for me in the healing process is, like, well, maybe I should just be more mean. Like, I was too nice. I'm too nice. I make too many excuses. So, like, going forward, maybe I should just fucking harden up and have calluses and be... But I'm like, but that's not what I want.
But also, I feel like the same reaction would have still happened.
Like, finding someone I would have found...
Well, like, and thinking about your ex, if you were mean...
Yeah.
It would just look more controlling to him, and maybe that would still, like, it would have maybe expedited the process. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's like, expedited. Waste less time. Say less.
Say less. But, like, I still feel like the reaction would have been the same because it was never about you. The issue that he had within himself is the reason he did it.
He did it, yeah.
You know?
100%. And that's also what you have to remember. Like, anything I do differently going forward isn't going to change how other people are dealing with their own issues.
Right.
Like, those are their issues. And if I can't see them,
then I'll see them soon.
Then you'll see me later.
With that said, like, how would you set aside, like, or not set aside, how would you set up your boundaries of, like, protecting your emotional state when, like, you're trying to date and be open at the same time? Like, I feel like for me that was really easy, of just being like, I'm not gonna let the past, like, really define the connections I can make moving forward.
I don't think I think about it.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But I think some people, like, really need this, like, sense of protection, but I don't understand how to.
Yeah, it's literally just doing the work, I think. Like, the first part of it, of knowing that you couldn't have changed it and you couldn't have changed them, and just knowing that going forward you can trust yourself, and, like, setting up those, like, accountability partners who are going to tell you, like, remember, these are the red flags we talked about, like,
right,
or whatever, which, like, ideally you don't need those. And that's the best part, is, like, you get so validated when you're like, wait, I realized I haven't seen any red flags, and I check in with my partner, my accountability partner, my friends, and they're also like, yeah, dude, like, things look good, like, whatever. And
excited
also,
for you.
It's also okay to, like, I feel like all my friends at this age, I don't know if it's our group or whatever, but it's like the first inkling of meeting someone nice, it's like, you don't want to believe it. You're like, no, but, like,
something's gonna happen.
I can't be giddy. Like, I can't be excited about it. And it's like, even if he fucks you over so bad, or she fucks you over so bad, or whatever, you still got to have, like, that fucking joy for the 24 hours or 48 hours where you were like, they're texting me back, like, or whatever. And, like, even guys that I literally don't give two fucks about, like, I remember being giddy about their text messages.
Yeah.
I literally don't care about them, but, like, it was fun in the moment to be like,
that's a good point.
He's texting me, like, his number's on my phone or whatever. So what?
I think, like, make the joy about you, but make the things that the other person, if they can't, like, hold up to the standard that you're looking for, make that about them.
Yeah.
You know, like, it has nothing to do with you.
He made me happy for half a second. But...
And that was great.
Yeah.
Moving forward, like, I clearly don't want to be with this person because they're not,
but
again, up to my things.
The key is sticking to that.
Yeah, girl.
Yeah.
Can't stress that enough.
Can't stress that enough. Set that boundary. But, yeah. I
guess, like, final, like, thought. I guess a big piece with that would be, honestly, forgiveness. I know none of us want to hear it. But quite honestly, like, it's that big fucking sentiment or that big statement of like, forgiveness is for you, you know, like it's not for anyone else, because the more you're holding resentment towards a situation, like you're only giving it power, you know, you're only giving it power to that person who hurt you. Again, like, it's so difficult, and I understand. I fucking get it. Yeah. But once you forgive even just yourself for being in the positions that you were, and like releasing any, not responsibility, because that's not what I'm trying to say, but releasing any blame from yourself and being like, you know what, it fucking happened. Thank God, because I don't have to deal with any of the things anymore. I'm moving forward. That can literally open you up to so many new possibilities. Yeah. Not even in just love, but just like your experience in life. You know, the minute you don't let this thing like loom over you for the rest of your fucking existence, like you're gonna be free and happy.
Yeah. And I think like just the aspect of not forgiving, it's still like you're still living through the situation by not forgiving. Yep. And the second you forgive is when you actually, I think, have like let go, which we've talked about, letting go of exes. But it's a process, and there's no need to like rush yourself. If you were just cheated on and you came across this episode, welcome. But also like, don't rush yourself into feeling like I need to be ready to date and I need to trust people. And like, also the part of the process of like forgiving is you can still say like, yes, this happened and it is what it is and I'm moving past it. And it's okay that there are things that are now different for me moving forward. Yeah. Which like maybe are better. Like, who am I to say that the fact that I was cheated on made me more difficult to date? Or like that just makes no sense. You know what I mean? Like, now I have things that I acknowledge consciously because I'm emotionally fucking intelligent and aware of these things. Meanwhile, other people are just living frivolously and like cheating or getting cheated on and not caring or not dealing with it or other issues in life. And it's like, there's so much power in wanting to move forward. So like lean into
that.
Yeah.
Just like the incredible fucking release you get is, I can't explain it. It's just like the shackles are gone. Also, like if you keep in this fucking narrative,
you're just putting it out to the universe.
But it's also like you're making yourself such a victim. Do you want to continue to live in victimhood? You know, I know bad things happened. I'm so sorry. Yeah, and I'm not devaluing that, but you shouldn't devalue yourself and your new experience beyond this person from this fucking situation that happened to you. You know, I get it. There might be trust issues that come from it, and maybe that's just like now you require a different level to gain trust and communication. But the right person will put the efforts in, and you just have to believe that wholeheartedly. You know,
dating after infidelity, man.
It's tough, dude. I can't just, I mean, I think the only thing I can say is just like, I really would stress like communicating your needs. And I know people say like, don't say shit, but like, how else am I supposed to?
Don't say shit.
Like, don't tell them. Don't tell anybody what you need.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so backwards, but whatever. Yeah. I think we're all living in this fear mindset of fucking narcissists and sociopaths, which I fucking get it, but
yeah, I'm not there yet. Like, I haven't like, if I was there, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not telling them anything. Like, and then I'm gonna see how it goes.
But then I'm like, when are you gonna reach that point?
I don't know, and I'm not in that world yet.
I'm not in that world,
or hopefully ever. But anyway. Yeah, and I think that's just like let's just add a whole nother fucking layer to how hard dating is. Yeah, now I've been cheated on, and now it has to be like, it's not a thing. Genuinely.
Doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I think you'll get to a place where it's like, not necessarily a thing, but it, like all things, take a shot every time I said thing. We all have our things, okay? So like, if yours is cheating and a few other things, it's fine. Like, we all just have to fucking learn to let go, have grace for each other, and the right person, as we keep saying. It's like so hard to say all these like trope obscure fucking things, but like, if you believe it and just keep yourself open to dating in general, it'll come.
Yeah.
It will be fine. And I'm saying that as a single as a Pringle person because I have to say it for myself.
True. And I'm saying that as like the person who made it onto the other side.
Yeah.
You can move beyond this situation.
Yeah.
Trust me. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's easy.
Once you're in that.
Once you're in this side or that side. But it just takes, it's just honestly being real with yourself consistently. And that's all I can say.
Yeah. Which we will talk about infidelity, moving on from infidelity while in a relationship, I guess.
Yeah, like being in a new one.
Yeah.
So that'll be at some point. But we did want to discuss first the dating aspect because that's the first hurdle you got to get through, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know if this like resonated at all. We definitely, I feel like I wish I would have heard shit like this, honestly, when I was going through it. Even though like whatever stage you're at, you know, it's tough. But anyway, thank you for listening. We will catch you in glowing hour.
Yes.
Don't forget to, we haven't done this in a while, but don't forget to rate our podcast. Give us some feedback. Follow our Instagram.
Share this episode with your friends who have all been cheated on. I love you guys.
Love y'all.
We love you so much.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.